Hello, everyone. If you are a parent trying to raise successful Black children in a complicated world, this conversation is for you. Welcome to BACKtalk, the award winning podcast from Successful Black Parenting Magazine, where we go beyond headlines and dig into the conversations that actually shape our families, our culture, and our future. Black mothers are still dying at alarming rates during pregnancy and childbirth, often from preventable causes. This episode comes in the aftermath of midwife Dr. Janelle Greene-Smith, age 31, who died from complications after her own childbirth on January 1st, 2026. Rest in peace, Janelle. So here's the question we're asking in this episode: if informed fathers could change the entire outcome of pregnancy, labor, and delivery. Stay tuned and let's learn more.
This is BACKtalk by Successful Black Parenting Magazine, the most listened to podcast for parents by parents.
And we're back. I'm your host, Janice Robinson-Celeste. If you're watching this live, you are officially part of the conversation. This show is powered also by our growing community of Black parents, educators, and caregivers, advocates, and we've taken that community to the next level with our Black Parenting Academy. It's a private, safe space where you can connect, get answers, access resources that you won't find anywhere else. And I'll drop the link later in the show, so stay with us. And because we are live, yes, you can jump into the comments right now if you're on Facebook watching this or on YouTube watching this, your thoughts or questions, and I'll be checking them throughout the episodes and bring your voice into the discussion. So settle in, share this stream if you believe conversations like this are important and matter, and let's get into it. Because on this episode of BACKtalk, I'm speaking with Dr. Ebony E.J. January, who is a physician and Black maternal health advocate. Welcome to the show, Dr. Ebony, or should I say Dr. EJ?
Either one is fine.
Okay, well, fantastic. This is no problem. This is such an important conversation. As you know, maybe our audience doesn't know, but the Black maternal mortality rate, Black women dying during pregnancy, after pregnancy, in labor, is three times that of the lowest educated white woman, right? So we can have the highest educated Black woman, doctor's degree, whatever, and they are dying three times the rate, and it's mimicking third world countries.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about that, right? So for those who are meeting you for the first time, tell us who you are and what led you to your focus on your work for maternal health. Okay.
Sure. So as she stated, I'm Dr. Ebony January. I'm a board certified OB-GYN, licensed in 16 states. I'm an author of a book, Empowered Motherhood. And that was really in response to my patients. I am a maternal health advocate. I'm a daughter, but I'm a woman first, right? Seeing what happens when pregnancy is just treated like a checklist instead of human experience. And so to answer your question, what led to my focus specifically on maternal health, obviously I'm an OB-GYN, but when you talk about how I arrived here in this conversation, really my patients put me here. So I went to work for FQHC, which is a federally qualified health center, back in 2014, fresh out of residency. And I wanted to work in the community. I went to medical school wanting to work in a community environment because I just knew what health meant because I was raised in that type of environment where my dad just really drilled into us the importance of health. And so when I got to the community, I saw a lot of women who lacked education. And so I was, me being, just young, hungry, I was educating them. I was drawing pictures. It was not uncommon for my patients to leave my office with pictures that I had drawn, just, drawing anatomy pictures, breaking down what a fibroid was, breaking down, just various things like endometriosis or any type of pregnancy related issue as well. And so I said to myself, I have to do more. So I started being more out in the community at every health fair. I was got the opportunity to have my own Fox 2 segment and my own podcast at CBS Radio. And so that garnered the attention of a lot of people. And one individual in particular was Dr. Randall Williams. And he was an OB-GYN from North Carolina. He was the director of Health and Human Services for the state of Missouri. And so when he saw me, he ended up putting together a women's council. So Missouri Department of Health had a women's council, and so I was in the room with women who were older than myself, women who didn't look like me, but women who were advocating for maternal health. They were advocating for women's health. We were able to get sanitary napkins inside of the prison systems. All of these things that I was able to learn, but it was secondarily from my patients, because when I saw that they lacked knowledge, or I saw that they were being discriminated against when they were going to certain hospitals, I said, I'm going to empower you with the knowledge so that you are an integral part of the team. And I need for you to know, I don't need for you to come into this office and for you to be on your phones and things of that. What I'm telling you is valuable information, and I'm not going to always be there with you. And so I'm going to empower you with the information that you need so that you can get the best out of your doctor's visits, get the best out of any referral that I send to you, but also when I'm not around. And so that is essentially how I had come to this space in the maternal, as far as maternal health advocacy. But what I saw as I continued to practice, I saw even more women who lacked information. And I said, I have to do more, and I have to be able to expand my reach. And so this is where I am now. I've done so many things in the past several years, in the past year or so as well.
Okay. No, that deserves an applause, because we need more doctors like you. Like, if you're listening to this right now, watching this show, please put the applause emoji in there for Dr. EJ, because she is making sure that the dads are paying attention, everyone's paying attention when they come into that office, so that you can be an advocate, because you can save your partner's life today just by watching this video. So if you know someone who is a dad, about to be a dad again, or a dad for the first time, share this video with them right now, because Dr. EJ is going to save the mom's life. Because this is my question, Dr. EJ, and we're going to get into seriousness, but I want to ask you another question. It's not so serious in a minute, but if a midwife like Dr. Janelle Greene, if a midwife who knows what to look for, right, dies right after having childbirth, dies, like, what hope, like, do we have as moms and dads? Like, how can dads advocate? And I'm not, I don't know what happened exactly to her, but I know it had something. She had preeclampsia before, and that's why she delivered earlier. But why? Well, what do we do?
So this is what I always say. I make it a point not to speak out of turn, because I don't know the situation, right? There's so many things that happen during labor and pre-pregnancy that can contribute to poor outcomes, right? It's not necessarily just because someone is knowledgeable. If she had a C-section, for example, I'm not sure, but she's not doing the C-section on herself. So how even having knowledge of a C-section or the complications of labor, if you're not the person delivering the care, then you don't necessarily have a say in what's going on. I don't know the situation. I don't know the details of what happened to her, but this is what I will say. I had someone call me, a doula call me the other day, and she said, I have a patient that I want you to speak to. This is what happened during her labor. And I said, well, back up for a second, because I don't know that someone did something wrong, right? I need more information. Two, I need for you to have an insight into my world to let you know what we do in these particular cases. And if those things were not the standard of care, if they defer from the standard of care, then they did something wrong, right? So I don't know every situation, which is why it's very, very important for me to advocate for patients to educate themselves. It was really the reason why I wrote the book. The reason I actually have a masterclass on labor complications on my website, because I want you to know, if this, then this, if this, then this, because everyone doesn't always fit into the same box. So I want you to hear me and hear me clearly, that even though I give you this information, you have to tailor, a doctor has to tailor this, and you have to tailor this information to what fits for you. So I don't know enough for me to actually say what happened in this particular situation for me to group everyone into the same actual box. It just doesn't work that way. Do they have postpartum hemorrhage? Did they have risk factors for postpartum hemorrhage? What did they do to prevent the hemorrhage? That was the situation. If someone had preeclampsia, what were the necessary steps to take? Did she have other conditions that contributed to that? So this is all questions that I teach patients to ask, and I need for you to understand that the labor room is not the place to learn. I repeat that, the labor room is not the place to learn. I want you to educate yourself before. Learn how to ask the right questions before. take tours of the hospital beforehand, right? Get familiar beforehand. The time is, it's like when, when we talk about men historically love sports, right? If
Mhm.
you think about it in terms of sports and being a team player, you don't just go out on the field or on the court and play without practicing. You don't play without having some type of knowledge of what is happening. And so I encourage people to educate themselves and empower themselves well before the labor room.
Mhm. Mhm. No, I agree 100%. And that is really, really important to do it beforehand. But my question is, if she's a midwife that knows so much, then what hope do we have as parents to be
We
to?
have hope, right? We do have hope with regards to education and advocates, because we want to make sure that she, like, as I stated before, she wasn't necessarily the person who delivered herself. She wasn't the person, if she had a C-section, she wasn't the one performing. So it's important for our support persons, because we're in a day and age where we have same-sex couples who are having babies as well. All support persons need to be knowledgeable about what is going on and knowing how to ask the right questions, but not when it's time, it's game time, right? And so we have hope. So I don't want women to think that they don't have hope. I've delivered over 8,000 babies, and I've had all successful outcomes, right? It's not to say that there were no complications, but I've had a lot of great outcomes. And I'm not God. I'm not saying that. And I'm just a vessel here. So I'll say that you have to make sure that you are not just educated, but your support person is educated on what's going on, and that you have a good relationship with whoever is providing care for you. So, as I stated before, I don't know this particular situation. I don't know the details, but I will say I'm someone, and I know many amazing doctors who have had great outcomes. So, there's
Fantastic.
absolutely hope. But I will say this, in order for me to best guide a person, I have to know the details.
Okay. And where are you located, Dr. Ebony? Just in case somebody does look you up, because you're a good doctor. I can tell by how you care.
Thank you. I'm in the state of Missouri now. That's where I'm based, but I do a lot of advocacy work now. So a lot of patients that engage with are either on travel assignments, because I go to a lot of places that need help, but also a lot of online services as well. So I do a lot of concierge, a lot of consulting. So let's say someone leaves their doctor's office and they still have questions, their questions weren't answered, then are able to reach out to me.
Fantastic. A lot of crazy stuff happening in Missouri right now. Stay safe. Um, let's go. Let's just lift the heaviness a little bit, because this is such a heavy topic, and we're going to get back to it. But so you seem like you're really good doctor, because I could hear the caring passion in your voice. But what's something about you that most people don't know but shaped who you are today?
Most people don't know. So many people know me as Dr. EJ, but that Dr. EJ was birthed because one of the things that I saw in the exam room were preventable causes of death and preventable causes of disease. And it had a lot to do with health and wellness. So I used to, back in 2014, 2015, I was really, really, really into working out. I was training for a bodybuilding show, working out twice a day. You see me with my meal prep containers. I had a microwave in my office. I was really about just eating right and preventing disease, because my dad taught me a lot about that. We woke up to the juicer every single morning. We had workout plans. He taught us all to swim and took us to the YMCA every Saturday. And so when I got into a space where I was dealing with a lot of patients who were overweight, I was starting to teach them how to eat. And what I saw um, in this particular instance was that women were everything to everyone and nothing to themselves. So they were forgetting to eat. Because they had to work, they had the child rear, they had relationships, all of the things. And so they weren't focused in on their health. And so I combined two passions, which was basically trying to help prevent disease, but also my working out. And so I developed a text weight loss coaching program in response to my patients. So I told them when and what to eat, workouts that could be done in the home, because I knew that they were short on time. And I knew that they had to combine youth and the people that they had in their household. So I built this text weight loss coaching program in response to my patients. And so that's one thing that people don't know about me, is that my foundation, when I first started getting active on social media, was fitness. It was wellness. It was meal prep, eating right, teaching people to prevent disease. I'm all about being proactive in our approach to healthcare as opposed to reactive in our approach, because also our women, when you talk about regardless of income and regardless of education status, many times we are focused in on our careers, right, and not necessarily health. We want to, be successful, but we don't necessarily translate that into preventative health. I know a lot of people who are successful who are overweight and have various conditions that could be prevented. So I was really focusing in on two things. I fixed the weight problem and the weight problem, and that was how they looked, the excess weight, but also waiting to get healthy. Waiting, many people were waiting for the diagnosis to get healthy. They were waiting until they actually needed to fit into a dress in order to get healthy. And so that's what people doesn't necessarily know about me now, is that my foundation was fitness and wellness and eating right.
Oh, okay. Now that's all important, especially when you're pregnant, though. So that all comes together full circle for me in my
Absolutely.
head. So no, 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 great job. Now we know when we have a pregnant mom, all the attention, is on her. Like I see some issues in that. Hold on, I want to make sure everybody hears me. Give me 1 second. I'm not sure what's happening. Let's see. Hold on 1 second. Can you hear me okay, Dr. Ebony?
I can hear you.
Hold on 1 minute. Okay, I just want to make sure because I see some freezing on my screen, but I'm going to keep going and hopefully it catches up. And if not, I'll figure this out. But when we talk out of the conversation, a lot of times with pregnant women, we get all the attention, right? But
Hmm.
dad doesn't. So why is that a mistake?
You broke up. Say that again.
Why is it a mistake to leave dad out of the conversation?
Oh, well, because pregnancy doesn't happen in isolations, right? When
I'm
fathers,
going to refresh. Hold on. Stay tuned. Go ahead.
are we good?
Keep going.
Okay. Pregnancy doesn't happen in isolation, is what when fathers are excluded, women are left carrying not just a baby, but the entire mental and emotional load, let alone jobs, household duties. You have the relationship, cooking, cleaning, so many different things. And there are things also that we discussed in the office that I need for men to truly, truly hear, right? You have two sets of ears that can catch one thing that I say that can be detrimental or of utmost importance to the health of a baby and a mom, right? So it's important that we have all hands on deck. I say this before and I'll say this again, is that maternal health is truly everyone's responsibility, right? Maternal health improves when protection is shared. So fathers aren't optional spectators, they are really a part of the safety system.
Okay. Really strange. I apologize. I'm having some technical difficulties over here that we were not expecting. Let me change the scene. If you can hear me okay, we're having some technical difficulties, probably, which I was not expecting. Let me put this in a private chat. Hold on a minute.
Let's see.
Hold on 1 minute. I'm going to try to get this together here. I hate to do this. So we're having some technical difficulties, and I'm not sure why it just So give me 1 minute.
Okay.
Let's see how. I have to come on and apologize because our live stream is still going, but we had too many technical difficulties. I'm currently not in the country, but I don't think that had anything to do with it. So I want to apologize. We're going to reschedule this show for a different time. And for the trolls that are in the comments, go somewhere else and get a life, okay? Because this isn't the place for you. This is not the place for you. You don't understand our culture. You're not the expert in our culture. You know nothing about our culture. If you have a question for me, for instance, okay, I'm going to answer some of them since I'm still alive and I have time today. Black Parenting Magazine, that should read Parenting Magazine, not Black. Well, I'm an expert and I'm an advocate for all children of all colors and all races and all religions. It does not matter. However, because if you know our history of the magazine, we got started because there was no representation for um, Black families in mainstream magazines that you see on the newsstands. We weren't in any of the 60 covers, on any of the 60 covers when we started in the 90s. We weren't inside. They don't talk about how to do our hair. They don't talk about our health problems. This is a magazine that was started for our community, just like we have women's magazines for women, not for men, and men's magazines for men and not for women. If you can't handle that because your little feelings are hurt, then you need to go and check yourself, okay? Go check yourself. And for the other person who wanted to talk about, we should be talking about crime in the Black community. Well, let's talk about crime in the white community. How about that? How about we do that? Okay. Let's talk about that because that isn't talked about enough. And obviously, you don't know about it. So go check yourself and check your statistics. Our community, we're looked at to police ourselves by you people who talk about our crime in our community. How about the police do their jobs? How about that? How about they do their jobs in the courthouses and make sure that you don't get like a spanking on your hand and let go when they don't do that to our members of our community. So I have a lot to say, but I'm going to tell you, trolls, you need to go find a life. You need to get your life together and stop trying to be experts on our culture because you're not. You're absolutely not. You're armchair observers who listen to what Pawpaw tells you, right? And then what you do is go and spew it out like it's factual. It's not. I'm in the community. The people who are in here, we know. We live it every day. Until you are Black and live it every day, don't come for us. Have a great day. Guys, thank you for listening in. We'll do better with this broadcast the next time. I am traveling as a digital nomad, so live could be anything. We're going live every time, and we'll go from there. Take care, everybody. Cheers.